PNC News First is presented by the Bank of Guam, the People's Bank. Pizza Hut, we're taking pizza to where it's never been before. Taco Bell, the only place where you live Moss. Colgate, the #1 brand recommended by dentists. And IT&D.
PNC News First, broadcasting live in high definition from Tumon, Guam, on KEQI and KTGM, and on KPPI on Saipan. Here is your PNC News team.
Hafa and good evening. You're watching PNC News First. We are live from the Broadcast Center at Akanta. I'm Jolene Tovez. Thanks for tuning in. Topping our newscast tonight, over 20 crimes were committed the day Reza Lap and Jordan Lap armed themselves with weapons and attacked motorists at an intersection in Manila. But what was the motive for the incident? This is one of 4 elements the government wants the jury to consider when listening to the testimony. Let's take a look.
Prosecuting attorney Sean Brown asked the jury to consider what role alcohol played, whether self-defense played a part, what was the motivation, and what was the vantage point, where were the witnesses, and what did they see. These are the elements for the jury to weigh in considering the evidence and testimony. Defense attorney Samuel Tecker, who represents Reza Lap, told jurors there is no way to sugarcoat the event.
No way to sugarcoat this. Emmanuel has been charged with many, many crimes. He's been charged with attempted murder, aggravated assault in the 2nd degree, aggravated assault in the 3rd degree. We got criminal mischief, terrorizing, and then family violence. So that's six charges, okay, or 6 crimes. Now with the criminal mischief and the terrorizing, there are 4 counts each on that. So we're looking at about 12 separate crimes that Emmanuel's charged with. Now, take out the family violence, each one of those charges or each one of those crimes carries elements. Okay, these are elements that the government has proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
A special allegation of use of a deadly weapon in the commission of a felony is attached to each of the 12 crimes, bringing the total number of crimes committed by Reza Lap to 22 separate crimes. Tecker indicated that the defense would be using self-defense as a motive for the crime of attempted murder of the victim he allegedly stabbed.
Now, the government has alleged in the indictment that Emmanuel either used a machete or a rock. So if the government doesn't know what he used, how are you supposed to? Okay, that's reasonable doubt already.
But he is not the only actor in the case. Co-defendant Jordan Lap also stands accused. Jordan Lap's attorney, Gloria Rudolph, indicated that the trial would leave the jury with a lot of unanswered questions and uncover that many leads were not investigated in the case, indicating that it was the minor involved in the case which attacked cars with rocks and not her client who stands trial today. Painting the picture of what transpired for the jury, brought to the stand was GPD officer Timothy Flores, the police officer who apprehended Jordan Lap after the incident by New Best Market. This is where the chaos really begins, and according to Prosecutor Brown, 3 individuals, the minor, Emmanuel, and Jordan, started chopping up cars, throwing rocks, hitting cars with metal objects. This occurred after the machete incident when Reza Lap allegedly stabbed his cousin Urson with a machete. However, during testimony of Officer Timothy Flores, it was indicated that no machete was ever located. Instead, while chasing down an unidentified suspect in a purple shirt and Jordan Lap, Flores says he came across a lug wrench tool laying on the side of the road with what appeared to be blood splattered on the tool. But as pointed out by defense attorneys, the suspected blood on the lug wrench was never tested and no fingerprints were ever collected. Instead, the evidence remained sealed until today in court, when Officer Flores broke the untampered seal. Flores' testimony was followed by one of the victims in the case, Judy Gutherts, who has been vocal in sharing what transpired and calling for public safety following the incident. Trial will continue tomorrow.
In other news, the controversial House of Cards structure at the Liberation Carnival grounds at the Paseo will be torn down. Mayor's Council of Guam President and Dedito Mayor Melissa Suarez told the Patty Arroyo Show on News Talk K57 that the House of Cards structure will be removed to enable the Department of Parks and Recreation to make use of the space. Suarez said the organizations that were using the structure before the Liberation Carnival, such as the Harao Academy, will no longer be allowed to use the House of Cards space or structure. She said the MCOG is just giving the various organizations that use this structure enough time to remove their things before it will be torn down. The mayor added that the organizations have already been informed that they won't be able to use the structure even for their storage purposes.
From what our last meeting went, from what I heard at our last meeting, is it's going to be removed. The different organizations that were using it just have to get all their, the things that they had stored in there. What they removed it prior to, and hoping that they would be able to use it again, but they were told no, they're not going to use it as a storage area, and that will be taken down.
Department of Parks and Recreation Director Richard Ibanez also called in, confirming that DPR will be taking over the space to increase the area available for recreational activities. Ibanez added that the trash in the carnival grounds area has already been cleared with the help of the Mayor's Council of Guam.
We'd love to have more space for recreational activity. Mm-hmm. As you know, the whole paseo is, we have runners, we have people who exercise, we have cultural dancers who come here, we have yoga, we have Zumba, everything. I know we need the space because we have, paseo is being utilized by everybody.
The House of Cards became controversial after it became a symbol of the debate over whether to allow gambling in the Liberational Carnival. There is no indication whether the decision to tear down the structure means that the Mayor's Council will no longer allow gambling in next year's Liberation Carnival. Suarez did say in a previous interview that she was personally in favor of bringing back gambling next year. Some somber news to report. The body of a missing swimmer was recovered at Talafofo Falls Sunday afternoon. According to the Guam Fire Department, units responded to the popular site just after 12 noon for a reported 50-year-old male that went missing while swimming. GFD spokesman Kevin Riley confirms rescue swimmers were searching the Talafofo River for the man and found his body submerged underwater at 3:15 p.m. This is the third water-related death in 2 weeks. GFD responded to a male fisherman that drowned on August 9th in Maritzo, and another incident on August 11th with a distressed swimmer that drowned in Tumon just over the reef line outside the Nico Hotel. In other news, representatives from the U.S. Government Accountability Office are on island as part of a ground study on COFA migration in the United States. While here, the federal research team will be meeting with government officials, nonprofits, businesses, consular officials, and migrant communities from the freely associated states, often called a congressional watchdog. The Government Accountability Office is an independent, nonpartisan body that looks at how taxpayer dollars are spent in the United States and its territories. The study team will be on Guam from August 26th to the 28th to gather information on the impact of COFA migration on receiving territories in states such as Guam. The compacts of free association agreements between the U.S. and the Federate States of Micronesia, the Republic of the Marshall Islands, and the Republic of Palau. According to the latest report from the U.S. Census Bureau, Guam has the most number of COFA migrants in 2018. In fact, about 93% of all COFA migrants in 2018 resided in Guam or Hawaii. Well, don't go anywhere. We have more news first after the break.